commercial break. So we just took a quick commercial break, and now we're back. A lot of things, I just addressed Indianapolis, and I thought it was necessary to address it because, what's going on in this city is very, man, it's just a lot. It is a lot, and I find it very difficult at times to just, keep quiet, because when you sit around and you look at the things that are going on in this city, and to be quiet is a very, very difficult thing to do, because in being quiet, what I've learned is being quiet is very difficult because nothing really changes. Being a person that has really tried to push, a person who has really tried to be an advocate for change, a person who really, really cares about our people, it's very tough to be quiet. Indianapolis is a city where clicks matter. I'll say that again. Indianapolis is a city where clicks matter. And if you're not in a clique, then you are a click away from being out. And, I had posted something earlier this week, maybe a couple of days ago, where I was just really speaking to my disappointment as far as just the things that I've done, the people who I've worked with, the things that I've tried to do in this city. And it's been very challenging in this city because we have got to change the narrative. We have got to start looking at this thing and saying, Black matters. Not just Black Lives Matter. Black matters, period. Black matters because when we say Black Lives Matter, when Black Lives Matter was being put out there, here was my take on it. I said, if Black Lives Matter, then you support Black media. If Black Lives Matter, you support Black business. If Black Lives Matter, you support Black initiatives. If Black Lives Matter, then that means that life, the life of Black, not just when police kill Black people, but when Black people kill Black people. Black Lives Matter. We put down our businesses. We don't support our businesses. We don't support each other. We don't show up for each other. We don't say good job to one another. We don't try to open doors for one another. We say, I'm in my spot, so therefore I'm not going to let none of y'all come up in here and mess up my money. So therefore I'm not going to be an advocate for getting other Black people hired. I'm not going to make sure somebody get rich. I'm not going to support you till you get rich. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather give my money to Ralph Lauren. And so I put out some very interesting stats yesterday. I put out some stats, and I talked about how we spend our money. I talked about how much land. I said, the 1% of the richest people in the country, the 1% of the richest people in the country, what is it? 100 of the 1%, 100 people of the 1% of the country, 100 of the richest 1% in this country have more money than all Black people. That should bother you. Why do I say that? Because think about this. If 100 of the richest white people in the United States have more money than all Black people collectively, let me tell you something. That includes Oprah. That includes Robert Smith. That includes Michael Jordan. That includes Jay-Z. That includes Diddy. That includes all these rappers. That includes all these athletes. That includes everybody that we look to that we believe has wealth. And it says 100 people have more money than all Black people, and that includes them. So I want to talk about this. So I was looking online, and I was just, when I peruse online, I look for just things that I think are helpful or hurtful to the black community. And I saw something. This is not going to sound good. But I was watching and I saw that Michelle Obama has tickets. And they're starting at $250. Well, let's rewind. She had cheap seats. All the $25 seats are gone. They're saying if you want to see Michelle Obama now, you're going to have to spend at least $250. Okay? And then I looked online and I also saw that there were $900 seats, $500 seats, $200 seats. Okay? Now, here's my thing. When it says black people spend 30% of their income and make so much more less than white people. 228 years before we bridged the wealth gap. Now, let me give you all a brief education on how this thing works. There are certain black people, Paul Mooney used to say this, there are certain black people that get so major that the Caucasian world takes them from us. Okay? He said it. He said they took OJ, they took James Brown, they took Aretha Franklin, they took Whitney Houston, and then, if they make enough mistakes, then they give them back, right? So we look now at our president, our brother, Barack Obama. What happens? Well, let's go back. What happens with Beyonce and Jay-Z? Beyonce and Jay-Z are now so big in pop culture that they no longer belong to us. Can we be real on this? I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. But black people can become so big in pop culture that they take them from us. Well, Greg, what do you mean they take them from us? Here's what they do. They make it unaffordable for you now. They make it unaffordable for us now to see them. Because now they say, if you see them, you can't really afford to see them. They belong to us now. And so a Michelle Obama ticket is now $1,000 to people who really should not pay $1,000 to see anybody. When you look and find that we don't own land, when you look out and you find that we don't own any investments, when you say we don't have money to even feed ourselves, when you figure out that there are not a lot of black banks, when you say that there are not a lot of black grocery stores, and all of a sudden you say, I want to pay $500. I am watching black people clamor to go see Michelle Obama at an unaffordable rate. Let me say this. Let me be mean for a minute. Let me be lovingly mean for a minute. Let me get you mad for a minute. Let me get in your soul for a minute. Can I walk in your house with my muddy boots on for a second? Okay? Let me walk in your house and step on something can I sit on that front couch with the plastic on it? Can I sit in the all-white living room for a second? Let me tell you something. If you don't own your home, you ain't got no business seeing Michelle Obama. If you don't have a retirement fund, you don't have no business seeing Michelle Obama. If you can't figure out if your refrigerator is halfway on E and your gas tank, you ain't got no business trying to see Michelle Obama. Can I just be 100? There are a whole lot of black people out here clamoring for tickets trying to see Michelle Obama, but ain't took care of their own house. So now we sit here and wonder why we keep going down the same road. What did I say? We love entertainment. We love getting our cell phones out, taking a picture and say, I was there, Negro. You wasn't. I can afford it, Negro. You can't. Oh, I'm in the house, Negroes. What y'all gonna do? I was front and center at the Michelle Obama thing. My ticket was $900. And then you got a go home like you're in the George Washington days with a candle and walk around the house with no lights on for the simple fact that you felt the need to be entertained instead of taking care of your own business. I'm going to ask this question. Who is the group? This is what we need to understand. Who is the group? It's a women's group. Who is that group? I would be willing to bet most black people don't even know the group that's able to afford to even bring Michelle Obama here, ain't never seen the group, ain't never got involved in the group, don't know if the group is black, don't know if the group is white, don't know where the money goes, don't know nothing about it, but they got Michelle Obama. See, we don't look at the things that they could put out in front of us and say, this is going to help you stay broke. Because we're going to get somebody. See, this is what's good. They know how to get a fundraiser. They could put a fundraiser out there and say, watch how we get the money. Watch how we get the money. But here's what's ugly. They'll get the money for their fundraiser from black people to preserve their community. Let me say this again. They'll get the money because they feed you the carrot. So they'll go and say, let me go get somebody they like, so much so that they'll give up their poor resources, pay to see them, and don't know us, and all the money goes back into our community as they suffer to get entertained. You don't know who's bringing Michelle Obama here. But all of a sudden, you're going to take your black dollar, take it down to that place that takes your tax dollars already, pay for it, go see her, and then they take all that money back to their community, and the black community truly paid to get her here. We don't even think that's strategic. Whoa, they cold with it. Cold with it. And then we say, I was there. And they say, yes, you were. Now get on out of here and go on back to the hood, because I know your lights ain't paid. I know you're going to have to ask somebody to fill your gas tank. I know it's going to take you another 2 weeks for your paycheck to ante up so that you can be able to handle something. But you saw Michelle Obama. We ain't got no business. Let me tell you, again, they will take our people. They'll take our people and then say they're no longer affordable. You can't see them no more. They belong to us. So we charge you top dollar. And if you're going to pay to see Michelle Obama, then you'll understand that you're going to be broke to see it. But all the money's going to our committee. Y'all better go do the research on who's able to pay for her to come here first. And then you'll see who's getting your dollars while you getting entertained. Which leads me to this point in my last 10 minutes of the hour. There is a movie on the way. It comes out, I think, February the 13th. That movie is called Black Panther. Black Panther. And I am happy that there's a movie coming out. I'm happy that the director is black. I am happy that the cast is black. I am happy that we are happy about this movie coming out. I have seen more posts. I have seen people say, we renting out the movie theater. I've seen it. I've not seen, we're going to do an investment club. I've not seen, you know what? We're really struggling with feeding ourselves. I've not seen any of that. But I am seeing us be excited about Black Panther. Now I'm going to ask you this. If this were 1973, if this were 1972, 71, 70, would you be excited about being a Black Panther? 2018, we don't even carry Black Panther principle. We don't even stand up for each other in the way that Black Panthers stood for us. We don't think about our own programs and feeding ourselves. We don't think about being the vanguard of our own community. We don't think about looking and researching the laws that go against us and utilize them in a way that benefits us. We don't think about pumping fear into those who bring fear to us. We don't think about what the Black Panthers really did. We just want to see the movie. We just want to go and see the fictitious Marvel comic Black Panther. We want to see jumping and running and in a village and colorful and all that kind of stuff. But we don't want to endure the pain of a real Black Panther. We don't want to think about the Fred Hamptons because we knew what came with really standing for your people. When the police barged in his apartment in Chicago and shot up the whole place, killing Fred Hampton. Thinking about how the Panthers were dispersed. Thinking about all the things that they did. Thinking about how the government jumped inside the Black Panthers and did all these things to dismantle such a movement that had everything to do with Black people. We're more excited about the movie than we are about the movement. We will go out here and pump and pump and pump entertainment. But will you pump education? Will you pump true emancipation? Will you pump liberation? Will you get out here and say, you know what? The movie is great, but the movement is better. You're not going to get nothing out of that movie. You're going to get some good buttery popcorn. You're going to get you some M&Ms or something and a good soda and a good time. You might not get to hear the movie because we all going to be there anyway. But when it's all said and done and the camera is off, what is it that we're going to achieve again? Go back to the numbers, people. They keep pushing entertainment on us so tough and we keep buying it every single time they put it out there. I'm going to see Michelle Obama. I'm going to see Black Panther. I'm going to see such and such. It's a 90s concert coming up. But then it's like, okay, well, somebody want to say something to you that's making some sense about you keeping some money in your pocket, possibly owning your house, possibly getting your kids through college, possibly starting your own business. And you say, I don't want to hear that, Negro. I don't need nobody telling me what to do. But I'm going to tell you something. I was reading some statistics last night, and it said Black people watch more TV than anybody else in the country. 37%. Highest rate of any people who watch TV. You know what the statistics also said? It says that being that they watch so much TV, they're easier to influence because we can pump our message to them so that they can go out and spend their dollars. Oh, don't tell nobody. Remember on The Wizard of Oz? Don't tell nobody. But the man behind the curtain that owns all the media, but y'all don't spend time watching people like me or listening to WBMN, WBXL, WGIF, Black-owned stuff because then I could give you the information. The man behind the curtain, the 5 to 8 people that own all of media, radio, TV, and newspapers, and you think that they're not influencing you every single day? You know what it was a shocker? It said Black women watch more TV than Black men. I was blown away. I was mortified. And so when we look at this thing, we have to say, stop the programming. We have to pull away from the programming. And if we pull away from their programming, if we pull away from their programming and start getting some of our programming in the system, programming that says get better, do better, try harder. Stop letting them influence you. Stop letting them control your mind. Stop letting them control your children. Think about this. How is it that I'm going to partner with you to solve the problem that I created? I never wanted you to be liberated. I never wanted you to live. I never wanted to see your kids in college. I never wanted y'all to even be able to read. I never thought you was good enough to sit in the front. I never thought you was good enough to go to our schools. I never thought you was good enough to eat at our restaurants, swim in our pools, go in our theaters, walk in our clubs. But everything we do goes against everything we fought. All of a sudden, I want to go see the black people at the Vogue. I don't want to go, I know the white guy owns it, and before he started booking black acts, he had filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I know it. I know now that he makes $3 million a year because he books black acts, and black people are so addicted to being entertained that they can't even walk away from them. I know that they got the Vogue on the corner, but dare you not to walk around the corner and enjoy the rest of Broad Ripple? Don't think that school just closed because of that. Because when it's all said and done, they didn't want your black butt going to the school either. Let's be 100. It's better suited for real estate. I remember you can't even walk around the corner in Broad Ripple. Go on ahead. Go up in there. Remember how they had that little meeting, and all the meeting people and all the people and the businesses came together in Broad Ripple and said, we need to stop these Negroes from coming up in here, blah, blah, blah. And what'd they do? They said, you're not going to wear no white T-shirts in here. You're not going to come up in here and hang out. You're not going to do the things that you think you need to do. We're going to shut that down. So we don't look and say, get your own. We don't look and say, oh, it's time to be our own. It's time to do our own. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this quick clip. When I play this clip, I'm going to come right back. So listen up. This is some words from a wise man. It's not Gregory Meriweather. It's a wise dude. Check it out.
I'm here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to the group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennedonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with the pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
And when I hear that, it flat out gives me chills. And it gives me chills for the simple fact that they don't show us the Dr. King, the progressive, aggressive Dr. King before he was assassinated. The Dr. King before his assassination said, it's time to have our own. It's time to look within the confines of our own community. It's time for us to say, that's the one. That's the way we do it. Owning our own, supporting our own, being our own. We have ran out here and bought into the myth of what it looks like is sweeter. What they did to us was say, this is so much greater. This water is sweeter than your water. This water is colder than your water. This water is fresher than your water. But we never looked at the pipes. We never looked behind the walls. We never looked underground. We never looked at the pipes. We never had the mentality of saying, they come from the same pipe. We looked at our buildings and said, our buildings are not as good. We looked and said our restaurant was not as good. Our food is not as good. Our hotel is not as good. Our bank is not as good. Our grocery store is not as good. Our hospitals are not as good. Do you understand what I am saying to you? I'm saying is that we had our own. And it was good. It was not just good. It was great. It was so great that we look now and they know we are the greatest market that they could ever have. Think on this. Think on how they said hip hop would never last. Think about our music. Think about our dance. Think about how now they can have a show that calls So You Think You Can Dance, but everybody on there don't look like us, but their feet is moving like our feet. Their moves are our moves. They've stolen our styles. Think about our music and how now we listen to Adele and Justin Timberlake and Robin Thicke because they don't want to give those songs to black people. So now R&B is as white as R&B could be. Because now they've taken it and said, you'll buy into Adele because you're amazed that Adele sounds like somebody black. As opposed to saying, what happened to Lettucey? As opposed to saying, where is Layla Hathaway? You say, oh, that's my jam. Oh, Ed Sheeran, why ain't we playing him on the radio? But you can look and Adele gets 30 million. Adele's beating Beyonce because now they make Adele's album sound black. They took everything we had and made it white. But we still feed into the notion that what they have is better. Shame on Indianapolis for not having an all-black neighborhood of wealth. Shame on Indianapolis for not building our own black organizations. Shame on us for not having our own black business zone. Shame on us. Because we had it. When we think about it, what they did was they made consumerism stronger than racism because consumerism said, I can buy something that you can't, Negro, so therefore I'm a better Negro than you. As opposed to saying, if I go to Mr. Joe's store and he is my neighbor, therefore I help Mr. Joe because Mr. Joe helps me. And as Mr. Joe helps me, we help our community. But no, we want to be the black people that get snatched out. We want to be able to say, I live in Carmel. I am one of the few blacks in Fishers. I live in Noblesville. I live in Westfield. I live in McCordsville. And then all of a sudden, when it's time for you to bust a crime, you can't get city love because you're outside the city lines where the rules are different for your black self. Oh, they wanted you to get out the city. You just wasn't aware that they wanted you to get out the city. And when you left your city, You left your schools, you left your system, you left your stores, you left your banks, you left the whole nine because you wanted to be where they were, because you believed that where they were was sweeter than where you were, because they made you look across the street and see your own black neighbor and say, I can't live with these Negroes. I can't go where these Negroes is going. I don't want to be where them Negroes are. I need to go where I'm separated. Too busy looking at them, believing that they got it better. But they so busy looking across the street at you and saying, I wish I could be like them. Can't wait for the sun to come out to get outside and take off all their clothes and lay out. Just so they can get a glimpse of what you feel. Just so they can feel a little more darker. All of a sudden, you got a man who can have a hospital and he can implant butts and lips and nose and breasts, everything that you got from Mother Africa, and they now pay for. But you don't think you're good enough. You don't think you're beautiful enough. You don't think you have what it takes to own your own. We're not going out here saying, let me find a black doctor. Let me find a black dentist. Let me find a black real estate agent. We saying, that's really my friend. And I really got turned on to them. And, and they really do such a good job. And I really want to, yeah, right. Can't even listen to our own radio stations. That's why I created this. They have made us consumers. They have made us consumers. Buy it. If you can afford it, you're different. You're not like them. You can go to the Pacer game. You can get season tickets. Now, when you look around, being that most of your people can't afford it, look around the game. You're different. You're different. Let me tell you. You're at the Colts game. You're different from other black people. And you just as proud. And you got on your Colts gear. And you got your selfie out. And you taking your picture. And you sitting next to your white friends who come to the game every Sunday. And you just as proud. And all of a sudden, it's like everything around you starts falling apart. And you got to stand in front of your own people and ask for help. We don't even understand the game. We don't understand the separation. We don't understand. We look and wonder why it's still happening. It ain't politics. It's tricks. It's politics. But I'm going to leave that on y'all. I'm going to leave that on y'all. We're going to take a break. I'm going to come back live on Facebook Live. But I'm going to take a break. We're going to do our thing. We're going to do our thing. Keep hope. Keep moving. Keep doing our thing. It is so necessary. You're watching the Greg Meriweather Show. We'll be right back.